Hey everybody, Motorport59 here. I saw a commercial with Barack Obama supporting Gavin Newsom. Now, I don't watch much television. I didn't even see this commercial on television. I DVR everything that I watch on regular television and skip through the commercials. Most of the time I just watch YouTube, and I have YouTube Premium, so I don't have to deal with commercials. But I was sifting through some news stuff, and I saw this clip of Barack Obama stumping for Gavin Newsom. And if you listen to the Democrats, and this is just one, I'm sure there are dozens other like it, if you listen to them, the premise is COVID, the vaccines, masks. That's all they talk about. They want you to believe that this recall election is all about COVID and vaccines. And one of the things that Obama says is he's trying to make our schools safe. Really? Is he stopping the violence in the schools? Has he done anything for that? Has he done anything about gang violence in elementary schools, junior highs, and high schools? Has he done anything about keeping the teachers in schools safe? No, this is all about COVID and vaccines. Is he doing anything else for the schools? Are they talking about the California being 49th? I think it's 49th. I could look it up, but I'm not going to. So I'll just shout it out there like I sound like I know what I'm doing. But it seems that I saw that California was second to the last in the nation in education. And we spend in California the most money of any other state on education. And we are second to the last in what we get out of that money. Some other things that they're not talking about the 20,000 prisoners, I think it's actually more than that now, that are being released under a plan that Jerry Brown started and Gavin Newsom is doubling down on. Yeah, they're not talking about that. A few weeks ago, I actually shot a little video. I didn't put it up here. I put it on my Facebook. I was doing a piece for my other channel on the Amtrak station downtown. 3 vans pulled up, 3 Sheriff's Department vans pulled up and unloaded about, it looked like maybe 15, 18 prisoners that had just been released, and they take them down. They're supposed to get on a train and go wherever they're going to go. A couple of them actually went in the Amtrak station. The rest of them just shuffled off into downtown. And those people are, and I'm not saying every one of them, I'm sure some of them just had drunk driving charges. Most of those people are just going to go right back into their lives of crime, whether it's petty crime or violent crime. It doesn't matter. They're not talking about that. They're not talking about all those prisoners they released. They're not talking about the spiraling crime since all this defund police crap started. Thank God I live in Bakersfield, California, and our police department is not engaging in that. We're not defunding anything. You come here and get out of line, and you're going to wish you stayed in Philadelphia or Minnesota or Minneapolis or somewhere. You want to be a criminal? This is a really bad place to do it. But they're not talking about the spiraling crime in the population centers of California, in Sacramento and Los Angeles and San Francisco. They're not talking about that. They're not talking about how they're going to do anything to stop that. They're not talking about how Gavin Newsom has put together any plans to help curb crime in California. Their idea of making California safe is people getting vaccinated and kids wearing masks in schools. They're also not talking about the water problems in California. Yeah, we're having a drought. Big deal. We live in a desert. Most of California, below San Francisco, is a desert. It's arid. It's the way it is. It's natural. We have water up there that we can send down here. We have plenty of water in California. We're just mismanaging it. No, we're not mismanaging it. The Democrat government is mismanaging it. They have caused drinking water problems, sanitary problems. You would have to go over to the west side of the San Joaquin Valley and drive all the way up from Buttonwillow, all the way up to Mendota, all the way up in that area to get a grasp on how much farming land we have lost, how much produce we can no longer grow in the San Joaquin Valley because of the mismanagement by the Democrats where our water is concerned. They are dumping millions of gallons a day out of the American and Sacramento River watersheds into the Delta, into the ocean, to save a non-indigenous bait fish called the Delta smelt. They shut off the pumps that pump that water down into the farming areas. Thousands of jobs have been lost. I don't know how much of the state's GDP is involved in that, but it's got to be a huge number. California is primarily an agricultural state, but the Democrats are trying to stop that. They're not talking about the mismanagement of forest lands, state forest lands, on which some of these fires have wiped out entire cities and wiped out entire people's lives and killed people and wiped out wildlife. Granted, some of those fires are on federal lands, but the federal government does tend to manage their stuff a little bit better. But when it butts up against state land, what difference does it make? They're not talking about that. Instead of coming up with a plan to manage our forests, what do? That idiot Newsom stands in front of the cameras in front of a destroyed town and has the gall to blame it on climate change? Give me a break, climate change, idiots. Yeah, they're not talking about that. They're not talking about how deep they are, Sacramento, the Democrats, they're not talking about how deep they are into the environmentalist lobby's pockets. They are so beholden to the environmental lobby in California that they'll never get out of it. The only way that'll ever change is if the Republicans take over in great numbers and tell the environmentalists to pound sand, which they'll do if they have the chance. But the way California is, population centers along the coast who don't care about anything but their little dot where they are, it's going to be a long time, I think, before things change, if they ever do. Are they addressing the high cost of living in California? It costs a fortune to live in California. Granted, California is a really cool place when you talk about the things we have. We have things no other states have. I've been all over the United States, and there's nowhere else like California. Oceans, mountains, deserts, cities, small towns, rural, urban, everything you can think of. Rivers, lakes, fishing, sporting, snow, skiing, recreation of all sorts. Beautiful, some of the most beautiful places in the world are in California. And here in Bakersfield, I'm within about 2 or 3 hours of almost all of it. But to live here, I have to pay out the nose. Do they talk about that? Are they talking about California's hostile business tax policies? Are they talking about the 30% of small businesses that have left California in the last 5 years? 30% of California's small businesses have left the state. And some of them have just gone out of business because of the COVID thing, but that exodus was happening before COVID came along. People can't afford to do business here unless you're Amazon or one of these companies that has billions of dollars to throw down. You can't afford to do business in California. It just costs too much. The regulations are too strict. Doesn't matter what business you're in. You could have a mom and pop shoe store and you're still going to have to answer to the environmentalists in some sort. It's insane. Do they talk about straightening that out? Do they talk about making things easier for people to survive in California? No, they're not talking about that. They're talking about vaccines and masks in schools. That's their plan on making California safer and better. And are they talking about the exodus of people out of California? No, they don't. You know what that idiot Newsom says? Yeah, but there's a lot of people coming into California too. Yeah, but what kind of people are coming into California as opposed to the type that are leaving? We are losing experienced business people who are leaving the state to start businesses in other places. They're taking many of their employees. They're taking all that knowledge, all that experience with them out. And what's coming back in? People without high school diplomas. Illegal immigrants, even legal immigrants, but they're not educated. Are they going to be able to come up here and mow lawns and stuff? Sure, but we've already got plenty of people. Those aren't the people who are leaving California. We're losing good people, and we're replacing them with people who, I'm not saying they're bad people as human beings, but they're not experienced. They have no experience doing anything. They can't run a business. They don't have any business training. They don't have those qualities that are going to even out the difference between the people leaving and the people coming in. They're not talking about that. Keep your eyes on the ball. Stop worrying about the vaccines. I got vaccinated. I am not opposed to vaccines, but it should not be the reason that you vote yes or that you vote no on the recall. Vote yes on the recall. Get Gavin Newsom out of here. Another thing you're not talking about, the expenditures. Oh my God, how much money does this state spend? And he's got the gall to stand up there and tell us we have a $7 trillion reserve or whatever he says. Bullshit. California has no reserve. They are spending so much money just on this high-speed rail between Bakersfield and Madera. Woo, that's going to get a lot of business. Are they talking about that? Are they talking about the waste that went into that? That small section, Gavin Newsom, the only thing he's done since he's been in office that made any sense to me was to cancel the rest of the high-speed rail project that wasn't already started, which was the section between Bakersfield and Madera. And that section has already outstripped the budget for the original budget for the entire project from Los Angeles to the Bay Area. It is years, I don't even know how many years, 3, 4, 5 years already behind schedule. Are they talking about that? Are they talking about what they're going to do about anything like that? Are they going to talk about how they're going to stop wasting our money? No. Are they going to talk about how they take school and infrastructure bond issues that pass and end up sticking that money in the general fund because it doesn't meet certain criteria of that bill that nobody read before they voted on it? No. To them, this is all about vaccines, COVID, and masks in our schools. That is their only fight. It's their only argument, and it's insane. And if you vote to keep Gavin Newsom in office because of any of these commercials, hey, if you're a dyed-in-the-wool liberal and you hate conservatives and you want to live in a socialist state and you don't care about reality, hey, go ahead and vote. Go ahead and vote. Keep that dumbass in, because you're a dumbass just like him. But if you have a brain, that means you can be a liberal and have a brain. You can be a Democrat and be smart and understand and be realistic, and a lot of them are, and that's why this recall is happening. It isn't about, they keep calling it the Republican recall. It's not the Republican recall. We just want Gavin Newsom out of there. I think that if a Democrat, there's 7 or 8 of them that have their hat in the ring, and if one of them get in, they can't do any worse. They can't do any worse, and I don't think they would do any worse. I think they'd take that chance with another election coming up in 2022. We got to get rid of Newsom, and the Republicans are all behind it. Most of the independents are behind it, and a lot of Democrats are behind it. So don't listen to that either, because it's not a Republican recall. It is a California recall. Keep your eye on the ball. Keep your head in the game. Pay attention to what these people are doing. Pay attention to what they're saying. And more importantly, pay attention to what they're not saying. All right, what do you think about all this? Let me know in the comments below. Shoot me an email at motopoet59@gmail.com. Like, share, subscribe. Click on the bell if you want to be notified of future content. We'll see you all later.